Hey everybody, it's late as heck when I'm making this video, but I just had a couple things to say. I was thinking about some stuff and just wanted to get it off my chest. So here goes. Um, every day I watch YouTube, search Netflix, browse Facebook, um, stream some Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, whatever. Might order some stuff off of Amazon. Walmart.com's been great recently, actually. Might do that. But I do that over my home Xfinity Wi-Fi network or my mobile, one of the big four smartphone carrier, T-Mobile in my case, data networks. And it's been in the news for a while now, but I watch Philip DeFranco every day, and I'm consistently more concerned about the proposal of the GDPR in Europe. If you don't know what that is, then look it up. Crazy stuff. It has to do with sanctioning different privacy and security rights for internet over in Europe. But last year, President Trump, who I think has done a great job so far for most things, has dismissed net neutrality, partially because that bill was flawed in its intention, also because I don't think necessarily ISPs choosing what they filter or the speed at which things flow is a complete deterrent from the market. For example, if Xfinity wants to cut off my access to Hulu, then I can just choose to go out and get another ISP that would give me faster access to Hulu. So I'm not too much concerned with that, but that is also concerning that those things that are designed to make the internet more open and free are starting to be taken down. And bills are starting to be introduced to make the internet across the world, especially in China as an extreme example. Look up China Black Mirror on Google. Some crazy stuff going on there. And then watch Black Mirror on Netflix, and your mind will be blown. But the world at large is starting to increase security with the internet. And it's something that, as a millennial, someone who, according to Wikipedia, was a generation that has been generally marked by an increased use and familiarity with communications, media, and digital technologies, is fairly concerned about. Because I'm going to have to live the rest of my life with some laws that could be passed that would strengthen the privacy laws in general of what I can and can't do online. So, for example, today I wanted to just send a simple fundraiser email for my dad. It was a GoFundMe thing. If you send it to 20 people, he can make extra X amount of money that they'll pay him because they're basically paying him for data because we're giving them emails. But if you give them old crappy email addresses like, I don't know, wilsonbear@76yahoo.com that someone started back in the old days that you still happen to have saved somewhere on your phone because you don't delete anything, there's no harm there because you're just sending that email to a blank account that no one ever checks anyway. And then we're getting money for a legitimate fundraiser for, it happens to be for college lacrosse in our area. Not college lacrosse, high school lacrosse that my dad is responsible for. Anyway, yeah, that's a good cause, right? So you're doing things legitimately. I understand. I was trying to do it through Google. Google has put these sanctions on there because of privacy and security rules. You can no longer mass select a whole group of people and send a message. BCC a bunch of people to an email and send it to a whole bunch of people. I did this 3 years ago, literally, to sell Costa Rican coffee to the benefit of other people for market price. I got 2 free check bags on my airline flying back to the States. I worked at a coffee plantation. I said, hey, why don't I buy a ton of coffee and then just bring it back because I know it's good quality stuff and people like coffee and they'll pay me the market value and I won't lose money and they'll have something nice. So it's just something I did as a volunteer thing to do nice for people, but I had to use my school's directory at the time through Gmail and just send out a bunch of emails to see who was interested. Now I got back about like 50 responses, so it ended up being a great thing for them and for me, mutually beneficial. But now I can't do that on Gmail, which is disappointing because I've been so satisfied with Google and its products. The Pixel, I've used the Pixel 2 XL as my replacement for iPhone for about 2 years now. Great device, best Android on the market, I think. Until Huawei gets authorization to bring some of their products over to the US. Those might be better. Ironically, because they are not adhering to the principles of protecting IP and copyrights and patents of technology, because their technology in their country is so strictly guarded against by their People's Republic of China, by the PRC, by their party, by their government, which is the direction, quite frankly, that the U.S. is heading in, and that's not good for anyone my age or anyone in general that uses the internet as much as I do. That said, I generally, as a millennial, we have grown up with different shows, Rick and Morty being an example. We have become extremely nihilist, and skeptic and critical about everything. Now, luckily, I have a faith base to fall back on. I believe in Christianity, and that's done a heck of a lot of good for me in my life. Something I definitely recommend if you're looking for a world religion to follow. A lot of good stuff there. Something I truly believe in, which gives me internal optimism. But it allows me to look at things realistically, right, and pragmatically. So for this example, that whole Gmail thing, just trying to send out an email, which I cannot do in 2019. It's only been 3 years, but privacy has already been that much stricter. And I'm optimistic that VR and AR will be something great in the future, but we aren't there. And this year we just got foldable phones released. Those are cool. Check those out. Someday they'll be usable. Smartwatches came out a couple years ago. Great idea. I don't think we have a very reasonable, usable concept for it. Everything's kind of just like playing on the idea of smartwatch. It's not, the sci-fi show of what a smartwatch could be in the future someday. And I don't think VR or AR will be there for probably another 5 to 7 years, maybe 10. That said, I'm optimistic about future and technology and where things can go. I'm optimistic about getting alternative energy, optimistic about alternative vehicles using electric cars. Someday they'll make sense. And when they do, that's great. Someday all this technology will make sense and it'll be there. But in the meantime, I think right now we're at this pivotal moment where you see things like the GDPR in Europe and the Net Neutrality Act, and politicians who really don't have an idea of what they're doing are signing just laws to include more security and privacy for people online. Now, it's great to have your security. That's cool. But the thing about the internet is it's open. So once you get an email, once you click that icon, probably Chrome for most people now, Firefox, Safari if you're an Apple user. Once you click that icon, your information is tracked. And that should be a known assumption that everyone has. You give up your freedom of privacy in order to use the wellspring of information services that the internet is. And that's great because it allows you to see tons of creative projects that people have done. It allows you to learn more, expand your knowledge. There's so many positives to the internet. But the problem is, now they're trying to roll this back. For some reason, in the past couple of years, privacy and security has been such a big thing. Maybe because all the other things cool that could have been done on the internet, they've already been done. So what else is there but to just make things more boxed in? We like to think of ourselves as people who don't hold prejudices and keep things very fluid and free-moving and whatever. But especially with the PC culture, the whole rise of that, and now different gender things and whatever's going on. It doesn't matter your stances on that, but we are generally moving in this direction where everything's more open in general. So why in the world would things be rolled back to pre-internet times where things are so strict, like the for example, I read an article about people writing up bills, potential bills, I guess, so just regulation that could be enacted to make a new Dodd-Frank Act for the internet. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Are you kidding me? That might have helped with the 2008 financial crisis, but you're only going to restrict the usage or the free-flowing atmosphere of the internet if you pass that. Because then corporations are going to fight back, and in that whole process of corporations like Facebook, Google, some of the biggest money earners in the U.S. fighting the U.S. government and foreign governments, it's only going to make things worse. It's like going to be a firestorm and chaos that just ensues. And I generally am someone who likes chaos because out of chaos comes new creation. But also, I think we're at this pivotal moment where we haven't created the maximum technology that's possible. We don't have AI robots that walk around and can do things that everyone else can yet. And I would really like to get there before we slash and burn everything we have so far. That said, I'm just extremely pessimistic about what's going to happen in the next couple of years. And I don't want to say that politics has a lot of things to do with it. I think some of the people we put up on pedestals, our president, Congress people, they're just talking heads for larger powers, whether it be certain organizations or what is it called, lobbyers that for different companies that want certain things to happen. I think Apple took a strong stance when they denied access of that phone a couple of years ago to the government, but I think the government got the information anyway, which we all know with the Edward Snowden thing that the government's tracking everything we do anyway, which is another reason why we shouldn't assume that our privacy is protected online and why we should not give two cares about improving our privacy on the internet. That's a given. If you want the information, you have to give something up. It's a trade-off. That's why we don't pay for it. That's why we might pay ISPs to access it, but we don't pay for the information posted in general. And I know very few people are donating the $3 to Wikipedia. So if you guys want to make a contributable donation, Men's Lacrosse in Elizabethtown, or donations to Wikipedia, who I'm sure could use it. Anyway, that's just my short little rant about the internet and what's going on now, state of affairs. I'm extremely skeptical. I think a lot of bad things are going to happen. I think, loose butthole, I think that's what's going to happen, clinched pretty soon. Excuse my openness if anyone's offended by that or anything else I've said so far in this video. Send me any comments, messages, whatever. I'd love to talk about any of this stuff. I'm open as can be. I'm sitting down here at 4 a.m. on my couch in my basement. Just typed up a really long article about this to post on Facebook, but I realize that's probably not the right outlet, so I'm just going to post this, and whoever wants to watch it, they can watch it. Watch it at 2 times the speed, then you can get through it faster. But still hear everything I have to say. So, I like chaos. I generally think things are positive. I'm hoping for positivity, but I'm just not sure. And I was thinking later to talk more about something else I've been thinking of, but I think I'll hold that off for another video. So thanks for listening. See you later, guys.